You're rolling.
Okay, guys, this guy's got a problem on hot soak condition where the motor won't start until it cools back down again. And he's been pumping up the bulb, so we know it's not a starvation fuel to the VST. Now we want to determine here, if possible, if the problem is electrical, what part of it. Because he had a stator problem before, we're going to start off concentrating using the DeWalt heat gun to warm things up and see if we can duplicate that failure. But it's going to take a little while when we're doing this. It'll be a slow process because we can't put it right on it and overheat the components, melt wires, and things of that nature. We've got to bring the heat up slowly. So that's what we're doing. We might want to pause this for just a bit. Just go ahead and ask them why I'm doing it.
And then what part is that you're heating up?
That's the switch boxes for the Stator electrical system.
Okay.
These devices determine where to send the signals to and the ignition coils and the feed them. And also the rectifiers are in this area that rectify the alternating current generated by the stator up here over the top. It has to be converted to DC to be usable for the motor. Now, we don't want to heat this up too fast and start melting wires and stuff. But yet we need the heat to penetrate deeply in the units. So that's not going to happen in 2 or 3 minutes. It'll take a little while. So some patience. That unit up, see if we can get a failure, as well as the master PR relay. And I got to locate it in this motor. I don't remember where that relay is. It's been so long since I replaced one on an EFI motor. But we'll find it when the time comes here. But in the process, of course, keep doing visual inspections. Grab wires, make sure none of the connectors are loose, especially ground wires. Ground wires are critically important. You get a loose ground, it can cause all your problems you're having. If any of these are loose, I'm sure Noah didn't not make that mistake when he replaced the stator and reconnected them. Also, a stator system failure. Noah's already went through this. All the bobbins were burnt. And that kills them. The other thing that happens to them is the connectors on these yellow wires. Sometimes you'll find them burned to black. You gotta cut them out and put new ones in if they are. That commonly is caused by the incorrect battery. Using an AGM or lithium battery, the stators have no current limitation control. They can't eliminate it, and they'll self-destruct because of the low resistance in a lithium battery or AGM. It'll actually burn the windings up, the bobbins up, it'll burn these connectors up, it'll wipe out switch boxes. You can easily damage $2,000 in components by running the one battery in this motor.
So EFIs, you should not use lithium batteries.
Anything has a stator. If you do not have a belt-driven alternator on it, you have a stator system.
Yeah, so if it has a stator, no lithium battery.
And no lithium. Now, a lot of guys get away with it for a while, say, oh, I've been doing that for 3 years and never had a problem. In those cases, what's happening is they're making short runs. So they're bass fishing, sometimes we don't make long runs of 2 or 3 hours on it. So if they make a short run, you shut it off, those parts have time to cool off before they melt down. You make another short run, it sets long enough to cool off again. But you run it with a discharged battery or a bad battery, and in an hour's time, you can destroy the stator system. This is all right.
Let's see. I think that this bottom.
That's your mounting screws for all this on it.
Yeah.
I don't. You know, if it depends, that shouldn't be a problem because you got grounds here.
Yeah, the grounds are in the corner.
Wait a minute. That is just. Well, maybe not. See, this ground goes from here to here. Okay. Okay, so that ground is going from here, which is okay, to the ground on here. So it still should have a sufficient ground, even though the mounting screws are loose. That should not be the cause of the problem. But we're going to tighten them anyway. Might relate to some way that I'm not thinking about right now.
Maybe.
I keep feeling of it because I'm trying to kind of feel, I want to feel the kind of heat in it that I would expect to feel if the motor had been running for 10 or 15 minutes.
So many things it could be.
I'm not going to put much heat in it. I'm just starting the warming process a little bit, get ahead of things a little bit. Okay, see if it pops now. I think we've got enough heat on it.
Oh, you know what? Bro, it started doing this after I put those new thermostats in. Yep, but that wouldn't have anything to do with it, right?
I don't see how. Other than maybe now the motor is running warmer at idle. The thermostat's only set to temperature at idle speed. When you go up above roughly 6 to 8 pounds of pressure, the pop-up valve opens and bypasses the thermostats. So I don't see how that would happen. Though it might run, if they were bad, it might run warmer at idle than it was before.
Well, before there was no thermostats anywhere at all.
Well, that's not a good thing. Especially when you don't have oil injection.
Yeah, I know, yeah, because they could overheat.
Plugs foul out really fast when they run too cold.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. They would run too cold. So they'd be sending water in there guaranteed, huh?
When it does start up after it's had that problems, is it idle like that or is it idle better?
No, it idles like that. It idles like janky, like pokey, like it's forcing itself, you know?
I suspect you have a little bit of an injector problem when you hear it firing up. And it's a job to clean the injectors in this motor.
Yeah, man.
You got to pull the whole intake system off.
Damn.
They're expensive injectors too, very expensive.
Really?
But you got to pull the plenum off, and they're all inside
They're
here.
all back here?
Yeah, all of that has to come off. All right.
Because I mean, what would happen is you'd run it, fuel would go in there, the injectors would get fouled up probably.
Well, they can get restricted flow, or they can hang up, stick open, and get too much flow.
Oh, and then it'll flood up.
Once they pick up varnish deposits in what we call coking, which is residue from fuel, when the engine cools off, the fuel evaporates and it leaves a carbon-like deposit behind, called coking. It's more of a problem in direct injectors than it is these. These have kept up fuel from the incoming air and full fuel going in, so the injectors stay fairly cool.
Yeah, but you can't put any. There's nothing you could put in your fuel. I mean, there's something you could put in your fuel.
Oh yeah, ain't nothing better than Chevron Teflon.
Yeah.
And I think I talked to you about that.
Yeah.
Adding 2 ounces for every 10 gallons of gas, because that is an excellent injector cleaner and carbon cleaner. It's a well-proven product. I'm of the firm belief that Mercury Quick Clean is the exact same thing.
Yeah, you were telling me that. Yeah.
And the reason I believe that is you look up the material safety data sheets on it. It has the exact same chemicals and the same percentages of both products.
Yeah.
And Mercury's not making that themselves. Somebody's making it for them. And it makes perfect sense to me it would be Teflon, because it is by far the best product out there for that purpose, and it's been around for many years now. It works.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense.
Try it one more time. Is that the way it acts? Yeah, it pops like that once in a while.
Yeah, that's exactly it right there.
Was your camera still rolling?
Yeah, camera's rolling.
Okay, now what we're going to try, because I heated up the VST this time.
Oh.
Now turn the key on. I want to see if I hear the pump run. No, just key off. I just want to turn the key on, but don't crank it.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's running.
Yeah.
Let me put a pressure gauge on it here. I think this is a pressure port on this one. And see what the fuel pressure is. It should be about 35 or 36 pounds, as I recall, on that motor.
Yeah, that was exactly, dude, that's exactly what it does.
It sounded like it degraded from the way it was popping previously. That's why I asked.
Hey. But you should say the next thing that you're about to do. You want to do it out there or in here?
Out there.
All right.
I need to tool it. No more tools. I could hear the pump running.
Yeah.
And now what I want to do is I want to actually see what the pressure is, though.
That's nice. Dude, the GoPro's rolling, so you caught it all. All right. What are you doing right now, Leon?
I'm hooking up the fuel rail. This will check the fuel pressure going to the fuel injector. This goes into the fuel injectors up here.
And so this is, what part were you heating up when the motor stopped starting?
I was heating up the VST.
Okay.
This is making that fuel in here get very warm. The fuel pump stands vertically right here. This is the outlet from it. So this made the fuel pump much warmer. So we're going to see if that had an effect. Okay, let's key on and see what pressures do now. I'm going to
start it, just key on.
I want to see how high this goes. Just turn the key on first and wait a second. Perfect.
Turn it off.
Okay, let me grab another tool.
You want to turn it off now?
Yes, I'll be right back. I gotta grab a screwdriver.
Dude, that's really cool that that thing's doing that. That's awesome.
Now, I'm going to check for spark back here. Is your camera going?
Yep, we're still rolling.
Okay, if you'll crank it for me. I don't know if the camera will catch this, but I want to see if we got a spark that will jump a 1/2 inch gap here.
So which part?
I need to crank the motor, just try to start it. But I'm maybe looking for a spark from the screwdriver to that bolt.
All right, hold on. Let me zoom in on that. You want me to start it?
Yeah, if it starts, that's fine. Just shut it off after a couple seconds. Do it again. Again. Okay, spark was healthy. All right. Now we're going to check something else here. I need to open the throttle. All right, I'm going to manipulate the throttle from back here. While I'm doing this, I'm going to point this out. This is the advanced arm. It goes up to the trigger wheel, and when you open the throttle, you see this arm moves. You make sure that they follow the throttle perfectly. Okay, because see, I can move this without this moving if it's binding. It's got to do, that told me it advanced. Okay. And then when I close the throttle, I make sure it goes all the way back down. And it is doing that. So I'm going to hold the throttle open, which clears excess fuel out of the motor, and see if the fuel, if that clears the flood condition, because it may be flooded.
Want me to start it?
Yeah, and I got throttle control, right. But if it revs up real high, shut it off.
Okay.
Do that one more time and run it a little longer this time. Did you kill it or did I?
I killed it.
Huh?
I killed it.
Okay. So that appears that overcome the problem possibly. Now try it again with the throttle back in the closed position. Yeah, it's not liking that at all. Now, this is a pain on these early EFI motors, but I always had a foot throttle. And when they quite often, they have a characteristic of doing this. With the foot throttle, you just barely crack open the foot throttle. With these, it's more difficult, especially if you don't have the fast idle lever. But you can push this in so it disengages the shifter.
Wait, give me 1 second.
Okay, it's hard to give it just a little bit this way though. Where's your key?
It's on the other side. Wait, demonstrate that again, Leon? One more time.
If you push in this button, it disengages the shifter, then you can give it more throttle to start with. So you get the shifting, get past the shifting, and you give it just a little bit of throttle. Same thing I was doing back there.
Yeah.
Then crank it. A little more throttle. I'll come back immediately. See all the smoke?
Yeah.
Flooded condition. Did you try that?
I did try that, but I couldn't finesse it enough.
It takes a little practice.
Yeah.
Without a foot throttle, that's difficult.
Yeah.
On it. 'Cause you get the feel of this. You get the feel of it once you get it. Let's push the button. And once you get here, the free movement, and then it takes a little movement, and it doesn't move very fast. So you may not have enough. You may have to give it a little bit more. But just be ready to pull it back immediately. That's what I need to know.
Yeah.
That is not uncommon on these. I've seen that a lot, and with the foot throttle, you give them a little bit of throttle, you overcome it. The Optimax motors, this creates a problem. You never want to do it, because when you give it throttle, the computer takes a throttle position reading and says that it thinks that's idle position. So if you start it that way, now it's not idle position, but the computer thinks it is. So idle characteristics are all upset on it. You have to shut it off and restart it again to get the TPS signal recognized as being in idle position when it starts. No, but this motor, you could do it.
You can't do that trick for Optimax motors.
For an Optimax motor, you will create other problems.
Okay.
That will be very deceiving. But it does work on the EFI. This leads me to believe it's got an injector problem. No.
So it could be an injector.
Well, think about what I did when I heated up the VST. Now I brought the fuel temperature up much higher.
Yeah.
Okay, the fuel starts expanding. The fuel that's in the pump and the fuel rail expanded. It develops a pressure. Even with the key off, it's got a pressure on it. If you have an injector leaking, pushes too much fuel into the motor, it's in a flooded condition, then it doesn't want to start. The clue to this earlier was hearing how it ran. Every time you fired it, it would kind of skip and beat and not want to run clean, implying to me it had too much fuel. And then heating up the VST seems to prove that. VST is this whole assembly, by the way. Vapor separator tank.
Okay.
So fuel gets pumped in through here. Has a float in it, goes just like a carburetor. Float goes up and down, and it lets it fill to about here. And then the float will close and stop more fuel from coming in on it. Fuel pump stands vertically here, picks up the fuel, puts it under pressure, sends it into the fuel injector rails to supply fuel to every injector. Getting to it, though, requires a complete tear down up there. Then we put them on a flow bench, determine if they're sealing. You leak test them so that you know if they're holding fuel like they're supposed to. Then you flow test them to see if there's excessive flow or low flow, and clean them thoroughly. I have a suspicion it will correct the startup problem.
Yeah.
And it'll definitely start up. These motors normally would start up and idle smoothly right away. They didn't miss and skip like this one was doing. Every time you have to hit the key several times for it to take off. That is abnormal.
So, other than taking off the whole fuel rail system, you were mentioning the fuel additive.
Techron's a good product.
Yeah.
It's not a miracle worker, but close to it. But it'll thoroughly clean carbon deposits and varnish from injectors and coking problems.
And then what's the ratio that you put?
2 ounces for every 10 gallons of fuel.
2 ounces for every.
And I highly recommend any two-stroke motor doing that. Use that formula.
You have a bottle of it in here somewhere in your garage?
Yes, I do. I have lots of it here.
Yeah, that. Because I mentioned you saying you should try that, and I tried to do that, but I couldn't. There was like it seemed like there was a perfect position to get in here. Yeah, show the camera.
Okay, here's a picture of it. I hope that's a good picture. You'll see it says complete care. You don't want fuel injector cleaner, you want complete care. Also, you'll see down here small writing, right here, it says concentrate. You want the concentrate. The one that's non-concentrate, they intend for you to put the whole bottle in. But this, you only put 2 ounces in for every 10 gallons. And do it every tank of gas. If you buy Chevron fuel, I still add this to it. But Chevron fuel already has this in it. That's why I promote and push Chevron fuel. I think it's the best fuel on the market. This really keeps the fuel injection in good shape, and it'll clean the excessive carbon deposits off the rings and the piston and the combustion chambers at the same time. Also helps hot and plug life.
Okay.